In just about 3 weeks or so, I'm doing a class for my Ferris wheel flowers quilt. And because I'm doing that class, I decided this would be a good project to work on a little bit to see how I can work with the sewing machine, which I'm doing pretty good with the sewing machine. It's still a little tricky, but I can move things through. And I found out that the pressing is going to have to be done with my left hand. But when you make one of these quilts, you make at least 3, well, however many as you want, but you make these flowers. Here is one flower that I've already made up. And today I was working on making another flower with various blue fabrics, and then you have to use the same background as you make each flower. The same background that I use here, I will use on the blue flower, and the next flower, it will also have the same background because of having it match what I have laid out for the background. But I wanted to show you, after you get these, you sew your 22.5 degree ruler cut pieces. You sew them to a background piece, which this is what these are. I've got several of them. And then before you sew them together into a big flower, you have to retrim them again with that 22.5 degree ruler. When I was trimming today, I thought, oh, I think this would be a good time to show you a new tool that, well, kind of 2 new tools that I have that have been really helpful with my injury and my ability to cut and such. So let me show you what I am doing. Okay, I'm at my cutting board and I have one of my pieces that I need to trim, and I'll show you what I found that's been really helpful for me. This is a cutter that is made so that you don't have to use quite as much pressure if you're cutting. Here's it's a regular, takes a 45 blade, and I've got it opened up already. But since my hand is still very weak and I'm not very good cutting, the doctor and everyone said, yes, you can go ahead and rotary cut. When it gets too far away from me, it gets really difficult because my arm is extending so much. But I have found that it's pretty easy to cut with it. Now I'm just cutting one. Whoops, that one didn't work. But there. So I like this new cutter, and I would it's called Femore, maybe. And it's just been very, very good for what I need right now. Now then, here is a piece that's been sewn together, and the directions, of course, are in my pattern of how to sew it and all of that. But when you're ready to, before you do anything sewing, any more sewing, once you get these all sewn together, then I think there's 16, you lay your 45 degree, or your 22.5 degree ruler down on top, and I put the ruler, this little mark that I've made on my ruler, where I tell everybody that's where you have to mark your ruler. I put that down at the bottom, and then in the pattern it says, take your ruler, lay it so this line is at the seam line, and then scoot your ruler over a little so that you have more color showing than background. Then hold your ruler and cut on the right side. And now here's another good thing that I found. Rather than trying to use a rotary, one of those circular things, I just got another mat here. And I really like this mat. I can just lay this, turn this mat right around. not move anything because you need to cut both sides of this. So now I can cut the other side, and I'm done. So it doesn't have to be, I mean, you don't have to have a Quilter Select mat like this at all, but you need to have a mat that will turn on your mat. And I do this quite often on things, but it's really helpful for me right now with my stupid, my hand that doesn't want to work quite right. So I'm going to lay this down so that that line is at the bottom of the pieces, and this middle line of the ruler is on the seam line, and I'm going to just scoot him over just a bit so that I have more color than I do on the background. And I'm going to trim. Don't move anything. Move this around and trim. I don't know that I could do 100 of these, but I can do enough to get a little bit done. So that's my helpful hint for today, especially if you have issues, or like I do, with cutting.